June 1967, we were selected to play against the Toledo selection. Those days, going to Toledo wasn't any fun. The road was like a grater. It took us 8 hours by road. The road was just open to travel to PG. Salvador Habet, who was a supporter, took us in the back of a pickup truck. In those days, it was the pickup trucks with the box, and 20 of us were piled up in the truck to play in the Sunday. Because in those days, you couldn't go one day and come back. The road itself was killing. We arrived in PG. They put us in a hotel. We rested, and the game was played in 3 o'clock at what is now Victor Sanchez Stadium.
You know, we had a lot of players that were pretty young, right? And this was their first game, you know, and we were playing a team from Toledo with like 4 or 5 players, right, from Puerto Barrios. Yeah, you know, they had some guys. We knew that, oh, we were up to something when I saw this guy. They threw in this ball to him, and he just hit back a little bit, you know, and the ball just stayed right here on his shoulder. I said, these guys are not from PG.
And we started out well. We scored the first goal against PG. And after that, I think due to the long run and the late night, getting to bed, PG turned on the heat. They scored 3 goals after we scored our 1. And at the end of the game, they had scored 6 goals. Our Western District, it was known, was never beaten by any other district to that level. In fact, from what I learned, Cayo only lost primarily to Stan Creek, Queen's Park Rangers, in those days inter-district.
I suppose we went down there and, you know, took everything for granted, you know, did not press the way how we would normally do. At the end of the game, we found ourselves short.
After the game, we said nothing much, and we returned that same Sunday night to Cayo, because everybody was working.
It would normally be a joyous return, you know, where we would be, oh man, singing and all sorts of things. We did not. There was a sense of failure.
About a week after, we held a meeting with the players, chaired by then District Officer Eric Fairweather, who was still the organizer, the man behind the team. In the courtroom in San Ignacio, and the first thing I heard, boy, no team ever gave Cayo 6. And some of the other people, the other management players said, we need to do something. I raised my voice and said, because I was only the temporary coach, let us organize ourselves into a football club and let us give ourselves a name.
In 1967, a football team called the Mighty Avengers from the Cayo district was put together by Mr. David Cruz. His philosophy was that if you're physically fit, then no team should defeat you. With that, their legacy began.
We're going to regroup, and we are going to make sure that all those who have defeated us, they in turn will be defeated eventually, and so the team was named Avengers.
Our main focus was to organize and select players from all the clubs in the Cayo district and from players in Cayo who did not play in any particular club but could play good football. The Mighty Avengers was a district selection. The only club that did not participate in that grouping was Verdes of Benque. They kept to their own club and ran their own program.
So we were just a bunch of, you know, little guys trying to play football. And we would tell them, you know, throw us a ball, please, so that we play. And no, they would walk inside. We would get nothing from them. We knew that we were doing something really, really spectacular. when we saw not one ball coming from the balcony, but 7.
I brought some names from comic books since I used to read comics, and it was the Mighty Avengers, the Defenders, and the name of the Westerners came up. And after the discussion, we agreed that we'd be known as Mighty Avengers Football Club.
Even when we used to go and play in Belize, they never call us Western District, they call us the Mountain Men are here. They call us the Mountain Men, you know. So this was part of the legend of Avengers. You know, the part of the legend of Avengers. We begin from scratch and come right up. And we were at the top of the table for many, many years. Many, many years.
Our main supporter was the Honorable Hector Silva, who was Minister of Local Government, but he also came from Cayo.
I will give the credit to young boys that formed themselves into a famous football team named Avengers. They actually, they do the credit. I'll tell you why. I used to be a sportsman myself. I played for the whole country and outside the country. And I used to see these little young men around, like Papi Smith, like Timmy Bedran. One day I was around, you know, as usual, doing my duty, when they came to me, the young people with Mr. David Cruz, who was the district commissioner. He said, Honorable, could you find the possibility of making a stadium? It sounded impossible. But I remember that I had some funds left from my allocation for sports, well, for community development. I said, sure, where? He said, at the Savannah. And that Savannah was an open space where mules, chicle mules, used to feed. It was also a landing field for Taka Airways, 1938, the first flight. It was also a racetrack, so some of the biggest races in this country, right there on that Savannah from Branch Mouth there. It was also a football field. When football was played, they had to clean an area. It was a tennis court, likewise. And it was also a place of reunion on feast days at the famous place named Tennis Court. So that Savannah was an all-purpose. So I was asked to see in what way we can get back that Savannah, which actually belonged to the Wade family. The Wade family owned the entire San Ignacio, but through a loan transaction that couldn't be paid, this millionaire took the entire area, which is 2,240 acres, extends all around. I said, okay, let's go and see this place. So we went there, and they had measured everything, you know, they were ready. I said, good, let's get at it. What name do we give? Was many names flew, you know, this one, that one, the other one. I said, look, make I tell you one little piece of history. There's an old man here that came from Belize. At that time, it was 30 years ago. He became the sweeper of this, the cleaner of this town. And he used to have a mule and car to pick up all the dirt, the scavenge, to go and burn it. His name is Norman Brasta. Big man, you know, humble, very nice. Sure, he said, we know Bobo. That's what they said. We know Bobo. He said, we won't mind. So the name Norman Brasta Stadium was given to that stadium.
We had two major projects in mind. One was to enclose the savannah. And one of our meetings when he came to Cayo, we said to him, we need to enclose the field because we won't be making any money from our games. So he said, all right, what can we do? I asked him, what money can you find? And the first thing he could do was to provide us with zinc and posts. And the first enclosed field, which is now Brussels Stadium, was a fenced zinc fence enclosure, no seating, built of zinc fencing and posts planted into the ground. But then we knew we had an enclosed area where we could play our games and practice. The inside part of the field was a rope fence. But at least we started collecting monies for our games.
In our days starting from, we had no machinery to keep the field clean or civilized, in that manner. And we dedicate ourselves, all the players, come evening time with their machete, and we chop the field to the best of our ability and put the, with rake and scrape and thing. That's how dedicated we are and how interesting we were in the sport at that time.
We had very limited time to practice at that time because obviously we had no electricity on the football pitch, no lights. So we had to start working out as soon as we got out from work. So we had like maybe an hour and a half, something like that to work. And we were praying that we had full moon every day because with the full moon then you could work a little bit longer. And this is the kind of dedication that all our guys came out working hard, and we knew that we had to work.
We did primarily two things, a lot of running. The fellows would run from the field to the area known as Branchmouth, up the road and back. It was always a race. I could pick on one player who did not live in Cayo, Stila Gabbard. He used to travel on the truck. Come to San Ignacio, he stopped at Santa Elena and he jogged across the bridge, come to practice. So when he would come in, I'd said, Stila, you don't work out? He said, yes, I run across the bridge to get here. I said, that no count. Hit the road, go to Branchmouth, which is about a mile, and come back. He used to say, you're mean, I said, no, you won't get fit.
That's one of the things we had to do, run, put in our run. It didn't restrict the area, so we make it 5 miles one way and 5 miles back. That's a 10-mile run. And we do things on our own, like dribbling between sticks at home. We had our 10 sticks and we dribble between them to try enhance our control. For us, football was first over everything else. I mean, your pleasure, no? Football was first. Whatever we had to do, we do it to the best of our ability. That means in practice and in meetings and things like that. Whatever we have to do, we are focused and 100% in it.
Players should be fit. If one team can't outrun you, he can't beat you. And those fellows took it seriously. Because I know in matches that we played many times in Belize City and in Flores, and we played in San Joaquin, Orange Walk, PG, in Honduras. When the whistle had blown by the referee, all fellows always said the referee is cheating us. We didn't play the full 90, which wasn't so. We were, one, in good condition, and two, every player who came into play was as fit as the player who started the game. So we were never a weak team.
We had a group of maybe about 8 or 10 of us that used to take the Benqueviejo Road all the way to the White Mile Hill. We did that to begin with, and when we came from Benqueviejo Road, we took from here to where the two rivers meet down on Branchmouth Road. After that is when we started working out at the Brasa Stadium.
If we run from here to Trapich and back, by the time you come back, you're ready to have a little squabble. You run from here to the Branch River, you warm up already to, you know, and then when we get on the field, we have, because the coach wasn't a footballer, but we had people who know about football, and we participate in little squabbles and things.
We work, and it's 4 o'clock. Everybody out of field. Nobody had to tell us, well, you need to run or do exercise or whatever. We used to do it on our own, because we know if you want to be one footballer, you need to dedicate yourself. You need to condition your body. And that's how we used to help we. You had the older guys them, used to encourage the younger one them. Let's go. Sometimes you have to put on your shoes. And I say, boy, let's go, hurry, man. About 15, 20 laps.
5 o'clock, I get out my bed. I run from Cayo to Benke every morning almost. Get my shower, have my breakfast, and straight to my work. I was working with Public Works. I had to go 7 o'clock. I have to get there for 7 o'clock to work. 5 o'clock was our time to stop work in Public Work. And the minute I quit, straight to the field. I just go home, get my equipment, and I go to the field. I will love that game so much that, a matter of fact, when they put me on that to play, they could not change me for nobody. I never get tired. To show you that I love the game so much that I used to do what you need to play soccer. Everything that you need to play soccer. No cigarette, no rum, no. I was young. I can't even say ladies because I was young.
We didn't have any structured workout to say ball control and this. That's on your own time. When we get on the field, it's to show the fans who come out to watch you practice. And some of them, you know, were like, you had Flash. They would take part in the practice. They had fun out of playing against us. It's just forward and back.
We who were playing defense would bet with the forward and say, you will not come in here this evening. And we meant it. And so that brought about a certain competition between the defense and the forward. And we used to bet lemonade. So it was not just something dry, and it wasn't liquor either, it just simply lemonade at that time, and we used to tell them, you won't come in here.
We practiced in the rain so much that we were excellent on playing on a wet field, on a wet pitch. Hardly any team would have ever beat us playing on a wet field. But it was a real experience playing in the weather, no, because playing on a wet field, when you kick that ball and that ball drop there, that ball will slide. And we master the art of playing. If somebody would take a shot with us and that ball drop there, we would know where to position to receive that ball, while the other team there would be jostling to try to get it. But dedication, we were 110%.
Fans me used to come watch me practice only. Sometimes they want to come watch me practice. And then the time when we used to work with the O, and we used to give me a job to open drain for them pipe and stuff for water and so. Then he give me a job. Otherwise, you know. And then after when you're done, you do your lead task, you come out, you're free to go practice. But in time when you have to do your work first before you go practice. And that's hard, you know. After you're done work, you want to go practice. Really, we used to get it tough. I tell you, we strong because you know, you have to work to live. Then you have to go mess with ball. But we love it. We used to like it. I'm used to get lashing at my house. I used to get lashing every evening after school. My mom lashed me because I crossed the river. Go kick ball behind the goal post, as I tell you. That's my hometown right there, behind the goal post at the island. Man.
When I was playing, they had a man sitting on his side by the name of Mr. Lee. He was blind. He was blind. And when they said goal, head, that must be you. He was so used to that. My game was to buck in that ball in the goal.
Well, no, I could go and throw in from the corner kick, right big. Because when I throw the ball way into the goal, straight past your head, Mr. Lee me blind. And then a goal, he said, I must be a buck of ball in the yeah.
Mr. Lee, a fan.
Yeah, why he never used to miss no goal, and the poor man couldn't see no way. But he loves the sport.
Just walking through the gate and you can hear the fans, here comes the mountain men. And you know, we would come in a big group. We would come in a group and everybody would be watching us because India would be jam-packed right there. I mean, you know, you had cold seat when you walk in that stadium and listening to the fans then.
The Champs of Champion game against Orange Walk that was played at the MCC grounds was a very memorable game for the mighty Avengers. It was a game in which Stanley Rice Robinson scored the only goal, a goal that was well orchestrated between him and Albert Papi Smith, a goal that made Stanley Rice Robinson a legend as the mighty Avengers emerged as the champion of Belize.
We get a spot kick, right? And Papi was a smart man in my team, man. That was an intelligent player, you know. He tell me, say, because in time he used to call me Timber, eh? He said, Timber. And he going in at the wall, you know. And I want you, when I fake there and move out of the wall, I right through there, put it thing. And so said, so done, boy. But it fake there, thing. And he come out of the wall, and I right through there, I touch Mark and the Chavaria.
Orange Walk made a foul from outside of the 18, I remember good. Then we had one of my friends, good buddy up to now, which we used to call Rice. I think you're supposed to be acquainted with him, better known as Stanley Robinson. And that man spat that ball from out of the 18, you know, but he had a terrible right foot. And when the man hit the ball, when Chavaria gone, it was too late.
But it was about 35 yards away from the goal. Good distance. Just imagine and we feel good. We have two sweater mommy. We just go. Always follow we, right? Used to be a big spectator for Avengers. Why that lady run for the field, like grab and the high speed up. I don't know where you get a straight from the grey. Check. Because it was extra time we was playing, you know. And as that happened, you know, the whistle gone. Louis Gongora was the commentator. The announcer for the game. And he said, el año pasado, Stanley Rice Robinson, no, Stanley Timber Robinson hizo un gol como este, no sé si vas a hacer la otra vuelta. By the time he wanted to finish that contest, really only see that net going up again, boy. Yeah.
I always tease Stanley that he wanted to cross that ball. He didn't shoot it to go in the goal. But you know, we knew that MCC ground so much because we play a lot on it, that the breeze would bring that ball across because we were back this way on the southern side, so the ball come this way from the south to the north. And that ball just wiped right in. and drop inside the goal. We win 1-0. That was the championship game.
The Mighty Avengers was invited to Flores Petén, Guatemala to play in a marathon. It was the first time that the team was going to travel internationally. For the players, they were very excited for the opportunity. Little did they know that a very chilling experience awaits them. An experience that still remains in the minds of the players to this very day.
I'll tell you something, we had two experiences. On the way and at San Benito Petén, near Flores. Number one, we had going, there was a place called Polvora, where the army had to stop any vehicle going. Well, the Mighty Avengers were stopped. And we had to come out. We were well searched and so on. And one day I could remember, when they told us, manos para arriba, hands up, where they're against the bus. Judge Hillock said, he used to sing that thing in a cowboy show, but you never knew it ever happened to him, and the man tell him, Kayate, and he wanted him to shut up. But everything was all right, and we proceeded. When we got to Flores at this particular time, our game was against Rafagas. And they had expected Rafagas to defeat Avengers. But Avengers defeated Rafagas.
And we knew in that competition, if you win, the two winners play for the trophy. So we knew we were going to play the champion for Municipal, which was the Municipal Reserve, for the trophy. Sunday morning, the organizers of the club came and told us that we will be playing the team that had lost, the other team, and we will not be playing for the championship. We packed our bags and we started to head home.
And when we get by the Berry Ground, the army, they're right there. And the whole way up, he said, well, we can't go. We don't have to go back, go play this game, man. No, don't admit it, don't to play 2 days. Say, because we don't mess up with fear, So we had us to go and play again. Because then I told a waiver, you know what is a waiver, Ray? You have to go play, or else
We were turned back by the military, that we had to go back and play. And it's not only with words, they had their guns and they say, you got to go back. And we did, we had to go back. It was a chilling experience for us in reality, because then, if you invite a team to go over there and play football, then treat them good also. I don't believe that we could do that to anybody, any team around here. It was an experience that I do not like to remember, because it was very hurtful for us to play under force and things like that. I don't believe it was nice, and it wouldn't be nice for no other team. That's the way I look at it.
And they turned us back to the field. And then we found out that the team from Guatemala that had won said they would not play either if they didn't play the Cayo team. So we played, and we called it the shotgun game, because there were soldiers surrounding the field. We played well, and I think we played well because we were scared. Playing with soldiers surrounding the field, keeping watch. I think they had no intentions about us. They just want to keep the crowd, because the crowd was mad when we did not show up for the game. We won the game 2-1, and we got the trophy and came back home. And it's always come back home the same evening. That was our first outing. And from that, going to all those places in Guatemala, we never lost a championship. We came back with about 12 trophies in about 4 or 5 years as champions.
Club San Pedro of Honduras visited Belize to take on the Mighty Avengers in an international friendly at the MCC grounds in Belize City. It was a game that brought out the Belizean by hundreds to see the Mighty Avengers in action. Arturo Azueta was a hero of the game as he scored the Mighty Avengers' first goal. The Mighty Avengers went on to draw the game 2-2. It was a game that if goalkeeper Anthony Tono Wagner would have punched the ball out instead of trying to hold on to it, the Mighty Avengers would have come away with the victory. But it was a game that set the stage for bigger things to come for the Mighty Avengers.
We went to Belize City to play Club San Pedro, and we were parked at the marketplace. I quite can't remember why we were parked there, because we usually had our lunch at Ditz, but for some unknown reason we ended up right at the marketplace, and we saw a crowd of people, and they came to us, and we were all happy. We said, oh man, look, we have fans in Belize City. And they approached the bus and they said, you guys, you're gonna get 6. You're gonna get 6. And we were taken aback. We couldn't believe it. I mean, you know, we thought that we would have gotten some encouragement from our people. We went to this, we ate, and we were really, really, really ticked off. You know, as a matter of fact, we weren't even talking to one another. We were just filled with that rage that, you know, our people aren't backing us up. And it was even worse when we got to the stadium. On both sides, yeah, you guys, you'll get a dozen, you will get this, and you will get that.
And when we get that MCC ground, then we got to where they call Robbie Dead. I don't know if you know him. He just chow me up, boy. He said, boy, the mountain boy is coming, the mountain boy is coming, man.
He had a big sign. The mountain men are here. And we were glad. One person was with us. And I remember good, I was like the last person to get out of the bus when my cousin Philistine came in and said, you know what? They don't want Rabbi Dead to go in, you know. And if Rabbi Dead doesn't go in, I'm not going in. And the other guys, we're not going in. I went and I told the cashier, I said, Rabbi has to go in, otherwise you won't see no game. Well, we can't let a game bypass just for a man with a bloody cool cap on his head. And Rabbi went in for free. They didn't charge him. That was the game where Arturo Asueta, our left winger, his mom was in the hospital. And she got out. She pleaded to get out. She wanted to see her son play. And somehow or the other, the doctors allowed her to. And it was a memorable game because Arturo Asueta scored the first goal for us.
I remember I scored the first goal. Going for the second when I was tripped down. That's the time when I break my hand.
And I remember I getting this ball and I passed it and I saw the fullback stretch full length. But the ball came back to me and I said, I see how you can stretch. I put it just so. And Arturo dashed to the goal. And when he moved to the goal, they tripped him and he broke his wrist. And they gave us a penalty. And we were up 2-0.
You had about 6 of the guys that was playing for San Pedro were already big names internationally. In fact, those guys went to World Cup.
This time, the fence is down, and all those people who are against us are with us. They just invaded the field. Rabbi Dead was the first one. It was an invasion. They managed to take them out, to take out the people. This time, you know, like, there was no one against us. Nobody was against us because we were playing the game of our life. And we could have won that game if Tony Wagner had only punched the ball, that wet ball, instead of trying to grab it. It just slipped through his hands and it went in.
The ball that went in, the man kicked it from about the penalty area. And my mistake was I jumped and tried to hold it, to drop with it, but because the ball was wet, it slipped in out of my hand and it gone in the goal. The defense, the kind of defense that I had, there were times when I would be in the goal 30, 35 minutes we talk before me ever get a ball. And we had a defense, Alwyn Smith. Instead of going up, he would come to me and he would shoot this ball, literally trying to score this ball in me, and I would have to jump and knock it out. And I said, why, what you do? He said, you stand up so much, you have to do. You have to get something. But it was very rare when we lost a game. I had some of the best defense in the country, I believe.
When we lost a game, we would analyze the game. So how did we lose this game? Not because the ball passed Tony. It didn't start there. You see, we would trace a play all the way. You see, and then why someone didn't cover? Why didn't someone run from his position? And that's how we used to look at game then. We didn't go about pointing fingers. But that was one of our most memorable games. When we came home, there were people out at that park. Unbelievable.
In 1970, the biggest international break came for the mighty Avengers. Hector Silva was very instrumental in this when he and some other businessmen came together and arranged for the mighty Avengers to travel to Honduras by plane to take on Honduras' most powerful and professional club, Club Platense. It was an experience they would never forget. If there was ever a hero in a loss, it was Timmy Bedran, who scored the only goal for the mighty Avengers in the game. A goal that made Honduras' best goalkeeper at the time very upset.
In 1970, Honorable Hector Silva again planned that the team should travel because he was our quiet sponsor. He never got involved with any management or anything. But if you know anything about him, he was one of Cayo's top footballers. He was a right winger in those days when there were wings. And he was then minister. And he arranged with Club Platense. Platense in late 69 had come to Belize and given our champion San Joaquin a 9-1 thrashing. And Hector felt that, boy, we could do better than that.
A team came from Honduras named Congolong, and it defeated the teams in Belize City, the best teams. These young men said, we want to meet them. But they never got the opportunity when they came. He said, we could go to Honduras, let's go. So I called Halil Bedran and others, Polo Wait, and they said, look, make we get organized. I went get the money from government. So we got the funds, it was about, at that time, about $3,000-$4,000 to fly from Belize City to Honduras.
So he arranged for us to fly in mid-1970s to Honduras. We went to San Pedro Sula and then by bus to La Ceiba.
1973, I believe that was. That's the first time I ever saw television when I went in a store and I looked on the thing and I said, oh, that's a television. Because we never have television here in Belize in those days. And I was very blessed to see the stadium, how they had their stadium operate, how the players would come from under the dugout and come out on the field.
And then they told us tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock you're going to play against Platense. You should hear the talk, the echoes of fear coming from our team. Platense was champion of Honduras, and they had just given a month or two before a thrashing to our champion. The talk tonight was, boy, what we do, It's a Platense, and we know Platense was good. In fact, they had about 3 or 4 national team players in that club. Well, the only thing I said, and we all said, we don't dare. The only thing could happen, win or lose. But we already show how good we are by taking on their selection.
The trip was a very nice trip. It was the first time that we were boarding a plane. For the majority of us of the Avengers Football Club, I mean, we had no sponsors or anything like that. And it was so nice. And when we reached to the airport, and they told us that you are going to play against Platense, a professional team. We had no expectations of playing a professional team. We were going to play in the amateur level. This is what we were expecting.
We came down from underneath the ground into the pitch. A game was playing before us, and it was really crowded. No, first time I'm playing in front of so many people, I'm telling you the truth. Because we never have 30, 40, 50, 60,000 people. And that place was really packed. We were sitting like somewhere like this. When we came out the ground, they bring us to sit down here. A game was playing before us. And a couple of the people in the stadium to the back said to me, "Who you guys play? You guys from where?" I said, "We from Belize." Where the hell is Belize? Nobody knows. We from Belize, and they look back, and I look back, and then they said, "Who are you guys playing?" I said, "Congolong." I said, "The class you guys too high, you're gonna get 6, 7 goals. Don't know Avengers at all. These guys up there."
We were up a really good team because we used to listen to them on the radio. And they were really good. And David Cruz asked us, play your best. Play your best. Just like if you are playing in Brasta Stadium. Just play the way you usually play. Right? And we scored first. Yeah, with Timmy Bedran. The ball had gone off the right side of the field. Just like maybe 2 yards from the corner of the field. And Stanley Robinson was our technical throwing guy. He was a professional, right? And he would look, and he knew exactly where to throw that ball. And he threw that ball directly to Maya Ortega. And Maya Ortega caught the ball with the side of his foot, with the outside of his right foot, and sent that ball to me. And this very same way he sent it to me, I sent it to Timmy Bedran, who, if a ball is in the air for some unknown reason, Timothy Bedran would just turn like a torpedo, aim his head towards that goal, bend very low, and connect with that ball. A speed I've never seen. I have never ever seen that. He took off his sweater and threw it into the net and kicked it, and we were wondering, well, we thought that he was mad with the fullbacks, you know? And we said, well, he's really ticked off with those guys. It was when we listened to the sports report and we heard that it was 8 months and 18 days that they hadn't scored on him. That even made it more special for us.
He went for a season and a half without anybody score a goal in him. They either beat the team or they draw. But 1 season and a half, nobody scored a goal in him. And after the game, this goalkeeper came and he held Timmy and he shook. And Timmy was a thin person, but he packed a bang in his leg. The goalkeeper was very surprised when he got the first goal.
The goalkeeper for Platense was named Stewart. He was a national team goalkeeper. And when Timmy smoked him and he scored, he ran out of the goal, picked up Timmy and said, "I praise you." He told him in Spanish, and Timmy said, "Why?" He said, "No amateur has ever scored on me in about 50 games. And you coming from a place that we don't even know, you scored on me." They scored again, 2-1. But after the game, the celebration and the camaraderie between us was good because they've never heard of us. And that we come there and lose to the champion of Honduras. And we had a full delegation going, we full the plane going to Honduras, fans, players. And that was the highlight, I think, of our existence, going to Honduras to play. Because by then we knew we could go over to Petén, Flores, Guatemala, and take on their top sides and take on some top clubs from the city. And we always held our heads, so we knew how good we were.
So I didn't even see it. Came after the game and he shake my hand and said, "So many years, nobody scored on him. He's mine for all Honduras." He was the goalkeeper for all Honduras. And that was one of my best game I played.
That was a very beautiful goal. A ball came from across. I went to make a shot in mid-air, full. A ball gone through and through the net.
Well, that was the best moment because, I mean, you know, if you be one thin fella, one nicely fella, he could play ball good, he got one power in his foot, like thin. Well, we make glad, we make happy. We're really happy with that. Because nobody could have been doing it, only him.
We represent Belize, which we didn't went under the banner of Belize. The individual people get the sponsorship to go to Honduras. It gave us a lot of experience. It gave us how to play professional football, how to be together as one family. Because if the team is divided, you won't go anywhere.
All they want to talk about why they want to do the Honduras. How we do so good against Platense. Platense just beat San Joaquin. And our response, well, we went to represent Cayo, our fan base, our country. More than that, beside that reception, in Belize City, many Mexican clubs would come from Honduras to play in Belize City. And Speedy always said it, boy, whenever the country needed somebody to fly the flag, they'd send for the mountain men, Avengers. And every time the Mexican teams came, even though Belize City teams many games against them, whenever they needed to defend the flag, they'd send for the mountain men.
After retiring from his job as a road construction foreman with the Ministry of Works, Raymond Steeler Garbutt went into the gas station business along with his wife Agnes Garbutt. Today, when he is not in his office juggling numbers, you can find him on the golf course playing a round of golf.
We are a little band of old guys playing So if the ball would roll in a tree root, they say, take it out, man. Fix it in a good spot and see if you can get it back over.
Gabriel Roches served as a teacher. He then went on to the Public Health Department, the Ministry of Local Government, the Department of Environment, and also served as a Senior Justice of the Peace for 10 years. On Sundays, you can find Gabriel Roches at the Norman Brossa Stadium watching a Verdes FC home game, one way that he remains active in the game as a fan.
The Mighty Avengers was a family, each for one, one for all.
After retiring from the Belize Electricity Limited, Tony Wagner went on to open his own business, Tony's Mechanic Shop, a very successful business. On every first Monday of the month, you can find Tony Wagner sharing the word of God at the Evangel Temple in Roaring Creek Village.
Greater is he that is in us, the word of God tells us, than he, the devil, that is in the world.
While playing the game, Theodore Bones Lennon also worked for the Ministry of Works in the road construction department. After retiring from the Ministry of Works, Theodore went into the taxi and tourism industry.
I was a dice player, right? And, well, let's go play the bones, or the spunk. That was the number, that was the name of I was a taxi driver a lot, and I used to change a lot of cars. And all of them was spunk 1, spunk 2, But that's the way I get my little nicknames.
Arturo Azueta works for the San Ignacio Santa Elena Town Council Traffic Department as a senior traffic warden. On a busy day, you can find him downtown San Ignacio directing the flow of traffic while keeping the pedestrians safe, something he enjoys doing. After retiring from the government as a first-class clerk, a district officer, and the chairman of the Public Commission, you can find Gerald Speedy Henry and his wife Barbara managing their 10 acres business Eden Resort, a tranquil and beautiful haven that you can rent for weddings, christenings, and birthday parties. After retiring from the game of football, Daniel Nayawit went on to serve as the San Ignacio sports coordinator for 5 years. Today, when Daniel is not at home enjoying retirement, you can find him on Saturdays at his Avengers Football Academy, where he and his son is teaching the game of football to about 40 boys and girls.
If they have a good movie, you'll have people to go and see that good movie at the theater. But if the movie isn't good, they aren't going. And I believe this is exactly what happened then, that we gave the people what they deserve to have had.
During his time of playing football, Edward Tur Milton was also actively involved in boxing as one of Belize's best fighters from that era. He was also a member of the Belize Special Force, and he also worked at the youth hostel. Today, when Tur is not playing his guitar, something he enjoys doing, at the age of 70, you can see Tur riding his bike on the George Price Highway, keeping himself physically fit and in good health.
In 2013, Rodney Neal, who was a player for our club, was in LA and he met Teddy Recinos. And as they met, they started playing football. Because Teddy said, "You used to play with Cayo?" And Rodney said, "Yes, I remember you was goalkeeper." Teddy then proposed the idea to Rodney. I said, "Rodney, why don't we have an Avengers reunion? Make we get together and see who all is alive and well, and make we get a reunion."
And we talked about it, and right away they said, "Yes, boy, it's a good idea. Let's do it." And we met, and during the course of those meetings, it might have been even the first meeting, the idea came, said, "Why we not do more than that? What do players have to show for the many years that they played?" And we agreed, yes, something, we should do more than that. We should recognize them in a ceremony. And as we kept talking, then the whole matter of the Hall of Fame came up.
We did that reunion in 2014. And about 30 former Avengers players showed up with their wives. So we had a good reunion and outing. Raymond Steeler Garbutt, Gerald Speedy Henry, Albert Pappy Smith, they call him Mitino, but we knew him as Bones Lennon, Samuel Pillis Neal. Then we found out it was Nayo's weight. Nayo weight was Daniel weight. We didn't know. We always knew him as Nayo.
Maya, for example, we had to go and look for Maya, right? Then I come to this thing, man. He didn't want to go. And we said, this thing have to have you in it, right? And he came and he blended in, because I don't see him as a person who mixed that much, you know, but I may be wrong. Steela was very appreciative. I know a few of the members actually cried when they got inducted into the Mighty Avengers Hall of Fame.
Being one of the first of 7 players to be inducted into the Hall of Fame meant a lot to me, because you know it's the first of its kind in the country of Belize, and to know that you are one of the first in your era meant a lot.
It mean a lot to me, Ray, because first time I ever get into something like that. Never ever. They said, boy, them boy you so good, make we get them at least something, make we get them this, make we never ever till I get the Hall of Fame. I could not believe I'd get something like a Hall of Fame. I only see that on the basketball teams are looking at, and not even soccer.
When we had our first reunion in early 2014, Pillis Neal was there with his wife. Nice, big, robust fellow. About a month before our Hall of Fame, Pillis died. We couldn't believe it. We went to his funeral, and we had already planned the Hall of Fame award ceremony. I went to see his wife. She said, because we had told him before that he would get his award. His wife said, before Pillis said, he tell me when the time comes, you go for it, because I earn it. So his wife and son came to that ceremony in recognition, in appreciation of those top fellows who received the first Mighty Avengers Football Club Hall of Fame award.
We recognize Pillis posthumous, you know, after the fact he had already passed when we had that ceremony. And that also spurred us on to say, look man, make we continue with this thing, because all of us are getting on in age and whatnot, and you know, we will be passing along, and so let us do it before people pass. And I was just going through a list of about 26 people who have already passed, you know, who are associated with the Mighty Avengers.
There are lots of people to thank, and we have to thank them, because the Hall of Fame award is every 5 years, and we have no guarantee that we'll be here for the next 5 years to give out awards. What I found out about the Avengers, if you saw the list, more than half of the team have already died, and the rest who are alive, just barely holding on. Okay? But we have to thank some people.
There are hundreds of football players in Belize, across the country, living in America. And what is bad about it, a lot of them have died and did not get the recognition they deserve. That was why the first reason we agreed that we would establish ourselves an award, a Hall of Fame, because we think they deserve it. They played for an outstanding club. Even today, in modern football history or in old football history from the 60s and 70s, when you say Mighty Avengers, people know who they're talking about. And they still recognize the players.
You cannot induct everybody at the same time. It will take time. So those who believe that they should be there, it is important that they understand that this thing is timely. And we do not have a history. That is our problem, you know. We don't have records. Let's say if you ask who scored the goal, just like when you asked me just who scored the goal against Congolong, we don't have the record of that, you know. Nowhere to be elsewhere in other countries, they can tell you yes, and at such minute and at such a time. Today, we do not have that, and that is one of the problems we have in even when we are doing this induction of Hall of Fame, look, for example, a man like Tony Wagner, we may forget in the first set, which we believe he should have been in there. Now he will be there. And you know what? He was humble enough to understand. And this is what some players have to understand. All of we can't be in there at the same time. And all of us are not in there as players either. You know, some are there as managers. And those who gave support to show that they believed in the mighty Avengers.
Before that, in 2016, we were awarded another batch of lifetime members of the other members who were not inducted or awarded certificates at the first time. But we thought, let's give it 5 years so we could appreciate the beauty of having members in a Hall of Fame for a mighty club from our generation.
I think it is in recognition of the fact that I am a previous player, former player, but also the fact that it is under my presidency of the executive committee that the whole matter of the Hall of Fame came about. So I am being included under management as an awardee for the Hall of Fame, along with David Cruz and a couple of Kanche, I think, is also in that group. So I was really taken off guard, and I told him no. I told him, I didn't say I don't want it, right? But I told him I don't think they should do it. And the answer that came to me from the 2 members of the executive who were a part of the awards committee is, don't know we say you forgot on it, that the chairman of the awards committee, which is Charles Hyde, no? He's the one who said we have to have Mr. Neil in here. So that is how I came to be squeezed in.
As manager, as part of the management, you are being awarded this plaque. You are being awarded and inducted into the Hall of Fame. Rodney H. Neal.
I count myself privileged and blessed to be able to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I lift my hat off to the executive member them, seeing that they really appreciated what we did in the past years. I'm surprised, you know, that people from way back, that's over 50 years ago, they still remember those games, and they still talk about it, and it makes you feel good, and being inducted now in the Hall of Fame, really, I'm grateful for that.
Something so great for the accomplishment I had during my youth, I call it my younger years. No? That would be something very great for me, and that other people or other players could recognize and could know that I was someone who dedicated to the sport and play the sport.
That make I feel proud of myself, because I know I was part of one team where were really good. I was very proud. I feel like sometimes I feel like my heart stand up and I went and think I feel good, man. So well, at least I get something.
At that time we never used to get nothing, but at least they give you recognition now.
They still remember us, you know, so that make you feel very good. Not too much important, but still a little importance is there because they had the time to go and interview all individually the players, and that was very good. And I hope they continue with that same trend.
The reign of the mighty Avengers came to an end in 1979, but their legacy is still being talked about. Because of their hard work, passion, dedication and respect for the game of football, the players from the mighty Avengers emerged as a special group of young men. Their brilliant play on the pitch captured the hearts of many fans, both national and international. For the few players that are still alive, they are well respected and recognized wherever they go because of what they did while playing the game. If the players of today can follow in the footprints of the mighty Avengers, then the legacy of the mighty Avengers will come to life once again.
Here comes the mighty Avengers, moving the ball on the right side with Albert Papi Smith. Tight defense shown there by Orange Walk. Down goes Papi Smith, there goes the whistle, and the foul will be called against Orange Walk. Could this be the final play of the ball game as we are in extra time? I can see Stanley Timber Robinson having a few words with Papi Smith. Orange Walk setting the wall as we are deep on the right side. Stanley Robinson spotting the ball. Here goes the whistle. Here comes the kick from Stanley Robinson. Papi Smith moving out of the wall. Ball on goal towards goalkeeper Mark Anthony Gaviria, and it's a goal!